welcome to another sensational serving of Thumb Bandits.
Oh, I'm nuts. If you love gore, girls and gratuitous violence, you've come to the right place, because for this, the last show, we've lined up some of the sickest mothers this side of your sofa. Oh man, it looks wicked. We can't believe it either. But before all that, here's the news.
Pikmin mania has taken over the planet. The game is currently selling 300,000 copies a week, and cashing in on the trend, garden lovers S&G Flowers of America have developed a Pikmin plant. They believe their 5-petaled flower with a yellow center resembles the plant-like characters in the game. Ka-ching! Also going Pikmin loopy are hippie strum-alongers Strawberry Flower with this, their Pikmin-inspired tune, I No Uta, which has gone to #2 in the Japanese hit parade.
The title translates as Song of Love, although we think a more appropriate interpretation would be Fey Limp-Wristed Guff.
Now think Blade Runner, Robocop, and Westworld. Robots that help out around the house, perform sexual favors, and take out criminals have always been a popular feature in science fiction.
But if you ever want to see the robots of your dreams in real life, there's only one place to go: Robodex. Held on the 28th of March in Japan, Robodex 2002 is the world's biggest gathering of android and cyber pet technology. One of our faves is the Papi Row robot, which has been designed for security, surveillance, companionship and general housework. But if you are thinking about buying one, remember it's about as agile as a Dalek, so just make sure you live in a bungalow.
But the newest bot on the block is the SDR3X. What it lacks in personality, it sure makes up for in good looks. And if you don't want to spend thousands, then look away now. SDR3X is the next leap forward in home robot technology from the boffins that brought you Aibo. It can dance to disco, play football, and even take the mick out of Suggs' madness. Cool.
Lastly, no one under 21 will remember Tron, but it was one of the first movies to use computer-generated effects. This year, the cult classic is celebrating its 20th birthday with a digitally enhanced re-release, and it's still looking mighty fine. However, if you want a copy, it won't be available in the shops. You'll have to track it down online.
And Tron 2.0, the sequel to the movie, will be coming out later next year.
Next, it's gone down a storm in Japan, and we've got our filthy hands on it. What is it? It's our first review. The Japanese are mental. Where else could you buy a fab t-shirt covered in cool Jap text, only to discover, after being laughed at for an entire day, that it's really an advert for sanitary products? This actually happened to me, and you can imagine how hilarious I found it.
More proof, if more proof is needed, that the Japanese are as bonkers as a bag of baboons comes in the form of Pikmin for the GameCube. The game is about a space dude whose ship has crash-landed on a strange planet. He's discovered plant things that have evolved into an elementary workforce that help restore his broken craft.
Despite being odd, it's pretty simple. Lead the Pikmin to knock down walls and retrieve equipment. You discover pieces of your craft by solving puzzles that aren't too taxing. Also, controlling the little fellas is dead easy. You can separate them into coloured groups and order them to do different things. However, they're quite stupid and will get stuck in boxes or drown if you don't keep an eye on them. But their screams of death are so sweet that it's worth chucking a few in the river now and then just to hear it.
You've also got the added complication of time, because you, like me in real life, are afraid of the dark. Come sundown, you want out of there. Who knows what weirdness lurks on an alien planet in a strange star system after lights out. But with the lights on, you soon see a whole array of monsters that the Pikmin provide sustenance for, like the ferocious giant hedgehogs.
Pikmin looks, sounds and kind of plays a bit like Zelda, but the colours are much brighter and more intense than anything you've seen before.
However, unlike other puzzle games which have literally hundreds of secrets, Pikmin is very straightforward. But it doesn't have that special something that other Miyamoto creations do. There's not a lot of oomph. This one will not be a classic. It won't be for everyone, and we don't know how many more of these short games we can take being released on the GameCube.
But while titles like Luigi's Mansion and Pikmin may prove that this tiny purple box is the best next-gen console around, I'm starting to want a little bit more for my money. We've all ummed and ahed in the game shop about what to spend our 40 quid on. Sometimes we go home with a classic like Devil May Cry, sometimes we get a massive piece of shit like Westlife Phantomania. But don't panic, your dithering days are over. Our jury's returned one more time to give you their verdict on 3 more titles that are trying to prise open your wallet. Tonight's free-thinking reviewers are Scott, son of Emperor Ming and collector of muscles, Jackie, the vicious-tongued harpy and would-be dictator, and Paul, who works in a game shop and is really starting to get on my tits.
Do you enjoy kicking scantily clad ladies over very high walls? If you do, you're sick, but you might enjoy Dead or Alive 3 on the Xbox.
There's the usual mix of punches, throws and peanut smugglers, but this time the music is supplied by the oldest band in the world, Aerosmith. Now, which of our dudes looks a little bit like a lady?
Paul, you own buttocks. Who's this game for?
This game is for horny wee boys who like watching a lot of breasts, a lot of panties, that kind of thing.
So, you?
I'm not a massive fan of beat-em-ups. I do enjoy it now and again, and this, I have to say, looks stunning. So initially, you're just, you know, blown away by the graphics. They look fantastic. I think it's the kind of game that if you've got mates round and you just fancy a kind of quick battle at something, then this is the game for you. And if you like this kind of thing, then you'll probably love it. It's just not for me.
How different is this from Dead or Alive 1 and Dead or Alive 2?
It's not that much different. I mean, it's nicer, it's smoother, but they've just gone for the same look.
Winner! If the I Heart Whatevers haven't got you nostalgic enough, then guess what? Computer games are getting in on the act. And the worst culprit of them all is Nintendo with its Super Smash Bros. Series. This is the GameCube's offering of the multiplayer, multi-game character Twatathon, and it offers up to 64-player matches, a single-player scrolling adventure, loads of new and exciting things to hit your opponent over the head with, and reminders of electronic friends past. Yes, you did hear me correctly, 64-player matches. This is the computer game equivalent of a gangbang. This is one that you said your mates should come round and everybody should play. How does it compare to other Nintendo party games?
This is better than, say, Mario Party, just because it's a faster game, it's a lot easier to get into, and, I mean, it's really always fun to beat up your mates.
What about compared to the previous Super Smash Bros.? Is this one an update or just a sequel?
I would say that's only let down. For me, there just wasn't enough new to this game. There's a little adventure mode where you can sort of fight your way through in a platform style, but just not enough new stuff apart from fancy graphics and sound.
Is this classic Nintendo?
Absolute classic Nintendo, yeah. You've got all your characters, you've even got all your obscure characters in the hidden extra modes and challenges that you'll find. Classic Nintendo tunes, it's really going to keep your old school Nintendo fans happy.
Tell me about the adventure mode.
And this is cool. I mean, it's a beat-em-up, but you get to run around in a Mario-style environment. It's a lot slower paced than the beat-em-up, so you get to experiment with the characters, the weapons, the attacks, the power-ups. It's great.
And lastly, we look at Shadow Man 2 for the PS2.
Once again, you play Mike Leroy, fighting the naughty Grigori who promise to unleash an unholy terror on the planet. Switching between realms as often as you like, this sequel also boasts over 30 hours of gameplay, 6 massive game locations and ambidextrous controls, so even local people can play. But will our circus freaks be impressed?
Who's going to like this game?
I think this is obviously aimed at fans of the first game. It's kind of dark, kind of adventure, like, say, like Soul Reaver or something like that.
Jackie, I was wondering, as a Shadow, do the controls do the game justice?
The controls are the most annoying thing about this game. You use both analog sticks to control your movement left and right and forward and back, and also the camera angles, so it's not particularly intuitive.
The graphics are awesome. The game engine does a great job of drawing some great stuff. Very detailed, and the main character is the best I've seen yet. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, the jury have conferred and the results are in for this week, the final episode of Thumb Bandits this series. In third place, it's Dead or Alive 3, because...
It's more TNA than DOA.
Excellent. In second place this week, it's Shadow Man 2, The Second Coming, I say, because...
It's a shadow of its former self.
Prick. But this week's winner, in first place, it's none other than Super Smash Bros. Melee, because...
It's super smashing great.
Absolutely. What?
Eh?
It's Super Smashing Great?
Yeah.
Oh, that's piss poor. Elliot, is that the helpline for totally fucked off gamers? Yeah, I've got a problem with my boiler. You see, what's happened...
Ian, come on, stop pissing around. We've got to finish up the show.
Yeah, I'm going to try and sort an unsecured personal loan after this, so just give us a second.
Here's what's coming up.
Yeah, it's 8 inches.
But before all that...
Yeah, I don't want to take off Lara Croft's T-shirt. I want to know how to convert my diesel engine so it works for the catalytic converter, you silly cow.
We look at the lengths PR companies will go to sell you stuff.
Yeah, I'll hold.
This event is hoping to draw attention to Acclaim's brand new wrestling title, and it's costing an absolute fortune. But promotional stunts in the games industry have had much more humble and sometimes more controversial beginnings.
Well, the mid-90s in particular was particularly nuts as regards games promotion, because everybody really wanted to set out to shock consumers and to shock the mainstream as much as possible. Resident Evil, Command & Conquer Red Alert, Screamer, Screamer 2. All of those games went out there and went straight into your face to promote themselves. The main campaign that springs to mind when you think of shock tactics is Grand Theft Auto, but it ended up all over the tabloid newspapers. Questions were asked about it in Parliament, simply because they staged this fantastic campaign which basically alleged that it was sick filth that needed to be banned.
I think that if you were to have a front page on The Sun or The Mail or The Mirror saying this vile computer game should be banned, sales would immediately go through the roof. It's the same now, it's the same as it was 5 years ago. A good shock horror story does wonders to create business.
I'm out to kick your butt.
You're gonna lick my what?
And what about today? Let's find out what goes into a stunt like this.
We're just about to have a planning meeting for Legends of Wrestling. We're going to tell everyone what the game's all about, what we want to try and achieve with the PR for the game. Then we're going to knock around a few ideas of how we're going to launch it. There's a wrestling event that's taking place. We wanted the game to appeal to as wide an audience as possible, and we came up with the idea of promoting it in an established wrestling event. So we had to come up with ideas that would attract all sorts of people. The older gamers love all the action and the sexier side of the wrestling too. The kids love the big arena and the huge wrestlers. We came up with the idea for a Hulk Hogan lookalike who signed autographs for the fans. And we got Nikita to do a photo shoot for the News of the World.
Good. 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 Okay, just one sec, we'll just have a look at these.
I mean, I think it's brilliant. It's a good campaign. I think we're definitely going to generate the talkability in the run-up to the launch. I think the launch is going to be powerful. I think that weekend you're not going to be able to avoid Legends of Wrestling. So. But at the end of the day, it was all about having fun. It took us months to organise all these stunts, but the end results were pretty amazing. It's really great when all the hard work comes together. But now, we're all off to prepare for the next launch.
Games reviews are a funny old thing. I mean, what's one man's meat is another man's, you know.
Yes, I do. And more than one person in Gamesland has got a little bit uptight about some of our reviews.
Well, sod off, I say. No one tells me what games to like. For solid snake's sake, we fought wars against this kind of thing.
So, for you more liberal-minded people out there, here are our favourite games from the series.
For most of its life, the PlayStation 2 has been a massive disappointment. None of the titles seem to deliver that next-gen feeling we'd expected. Then suddenly, Ico appeared. A beautiful, quiet little game which has you leading a princess by the hand to safety. With staggering graphics and perplexing puzzles, this game is simple and pretty much perfect. Medal of Honor Allied Assault on the PC, however, involves shooting Nazis in the face and leading a band of men to victory against the Germans. The game succeeds in creating a really tense atmosphere.
Perfect for people like me, too scared to join the real army.
But for me, out of the stinkers, only two shone. The best way to enjoy Parappa the Rapper 2 is to get blasted, sit down and soak up the experience while chilling out to the modern-day equivalent of Simon Says. GTA 3 was my second favorite, and any game where you get to hit grannies over the head with a baseball bat, take PCP, and drive hoes around is definitely worth the peak.
But without a doubt, the odds-on neck-and-neck favourites of the series are Metal Gear Solid 2...
and Halo.
Now, I never really bought into the whole Metal Gear Solid thing first time round. It just didn't do it for me. Imagine my surprise when I played its sequel, Metal Gear Solid 2, and found it to be one of the best games ever. And I mean ever. The guards you have to hide from look frighteningly real, and it is a genuinely terrifying moment when you hide in a locker to escape getting busted. The thing this game has that's lacking in a lot of others is an interesting story. Honestly, it's dead good. It's on a par with Brad Pitt being a figment of that bloke's imagination in Fight Club. It also comes complete with a wonderfully underplayed soundtrack that makes you feel like you're taking part in a film. Superb.
And for me, the best damn game of the series has to be Halo. Imagine levels that take 2.5 hours to fight through. Take a moment and think about sparklingly smooth cooperative play. Imagine environments that put the real world to shame. This game rocks, and it's not just because you get to kill things. It lives up to the hype, so play it and understand. Become one of us. It may be the only title worth buying Microsoft's big hunk of nuts and bolts for, but hey, I think it's worth it. It really, really is.
So here's hoping you've paid attention.
Crack the piggy bank and take our advice, because these are the games to be proud of.
Well, the time has nearly run out on the Thumb Bandits clock, but before we finish once and for all, let's have one final look at the game's radar and see what'll be here by the end of the year.
Combining a deep storyline and a serious message, Duality is set in the not-too-distant future with fast gameplay and stimulating graphics. Like The Matrix, it exists in two spheres. There's a reality and a cyber reality, where separate entities preside. Ooh, got it? Me either.
For those of you with murky memories of an Amiga past, you should be well up to speed with Speedball. In Speedball Arena, the most exciting thing to look forward to will be the promised network and online matches. Here, individuals can hook up to demonstrate their virtuosity on the park against a team comprising of gamers from around the world.
The fifth part of a long-running series is always crap. If you don't believe me, check out Police Academy 5, Assignment Miami Beach. But Turok Evolution looks set to break that pattern. Set in 1886, you play Tal Set, sucked into the Lost Lands after a bit of a punch-up with uber-enemy Captain Bruckner. Boasting an entirely new games engine built specifically for the next-generation console, there are also 32 different monsters, flying sequences, and some hardcore new weapons, including gravity disruptor beams and variable payload cruise missiles. Ooh. Look out for Turok Evolution when it's released this summer. And with that, it's time to wrap up the series, but we've enjoyed playing with all the free games, gadgets, and gizmos on your behalf.
Right now, we've got to sidle off and check ourselves into a gaming clinic, because we've gone mad.
We may be gone, but we're certainly not forgotten. You can check out all the up-to-the-minute news, reviews, and schmooze down at our website, www.channel4.com/thumbandits.
But until we return, we've got one last thing to say to you.
We'll be back.
Fuck me!
When your mates come round, get it out.
Okay.
I'm on the telly. Get off. I'm on it again. Oh, no. I'm on it again. This is me. It's like fucking Daisy Donovan all over again. Shut up now.